Have you had contact with your twin only for them to go silent again? Have you gone through constant cycles of contact separation? The thing is, every time we do have contact or communication, it activates another round of healing. So silence is there for you both to process. Ghosting is effectively processing. So you both need this time and space in order to do the next round, in order to come back together again. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. We get so excited. We might be after a long period of separation, and then our twin comes back and we're like, yes, we've done the work. It's time to reunite. And then they ghost you again. Everything goes silent. And then you question your worth once again. This is the big one. Like every time they do ghost, we always blame ourselves. We always say, what did I do wrong? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Do they not like me anymore? Are they just using me? All this kind of stuff comes in. But that's a sure sign of what you need to heal yourself. And they need time to process as well. This is the thing. Every time that you contact, whether it be on text message or in physical reality, that's going to overwhelm both of you, but it's going to overwhelm the runner twin, especially the one that's less awakened. Because obviously, for me personally, I'm getting to the stage now where the feelings don't overwhelm me. I'm expecting these feelings. I'm on this journey a long time. I know how I feel about my twin, so that the feelings aren't scary for me anymore. But for them, and I know this is a fact, there's that period of separation. And if in that separation, we're not facing the healing, or the runner twin is not facing the healing, they'll go through this phase of maybe the way they avoid how they feel effectively. They're literally saying to themselves, this can't be real, this isn't real, no, I don't really like them that much, it's fine, and give it a bit of time, the feelings will go away. And then they come back, and then they're like, oh shit, I was wrong, the feelings aren't gone away, they're even fucking louder. So they go into this period of overwhelm where they're like, okay, I've been avoiding this for the last whatever amount of months. And then they're like, shit, I have to face this because this is real. Because that's effectively what they do. Like, if you have time apart, sometimes you can go into kind of avoidance mode where, like, you don't face the work. You kind of think, it's too good to be true. This isn't right. This isn't real. This is just a normal connection. This is, this will fade away. But then when you recontact, the feelings get louder again, and the unawakened or the less awakened twin goes into overwhelm, and they're freaking out because they're like, oh shit, this is actually real. And I think the more often, like, every time, the thing is, in separation, the feelings still get stronger. That's one thing that you'll know is is a sure sign that you've met your twin flame. If you've been in a normal karmic relationship, or any relationship that's not with your twin flame, if you have separation with that person, the feelings go away. They just go, because they're not supposed to stay. And you think that if you separate from your twin, you're like, yeah, sure, if I don't contact them, I won't feel this way, the feelings will go away. And then they actually, they linger, they stay. And even though you try and push them down with your human mind, when you re-meet your twin, all of the feelings come back up. And especially, as I said, for the divine masculine or the runner twin, effectively, they go into complete overwhelm because they're like, shit, this is out of this world. But you have to remember, as I said, every contact activates another round of healing, but they are still going through their spiritual awakening. So this is where we have to have patience. We might be triggered into more healing on our unworthiness wound or whatever insecurities we have, but they're still going through the depths of their awakening. So we have to understand that this silence is processing, ghosting is processing. And that's a fact. And I've said this so many times before, if there's separation, it doesn't just mean that your twin is running and that they need to heal. It means that you have something to heal as well. And for me personally, thankfully this time I'm a lot better. I'm not in the unworthiness wound energy anymore. I've healed that part of myself, or I'm healing it. So I'm a lot stronger. So I know now that he's not ghosting me because of anything I've done. I'm just so deadly that he ran because I'm so good. That's the fact. Like, we keep thinking that they run because we're unworthy, or they run because we're not good enough. They're actually running because we're so good. We're so fucking good. And that's something that we have to remember. You know, they really do love us, and they want this as much as we do. But it can be very, very scary when we're not used to anything like this before. And I know we're not either, but we've been awakening for a bit longer than they have. So we're easier able to accept the feelings. They're less overwhelming. And, you know, for me personally, I've been going through a lot of healing last week as well, since I saw him. Like, literally, I understand that we do need this space to heal. And thankfully, my wounds this time are not connected to his ghosting, and only connected to stuff that I need to work on. So ask yourself, in this time of silence, what do you still need to heal? You know, and you're guaranteed this is going to be triggering for you. You know, even if you get a text message from them and then they don't reply after, you're going to be triggered. But there's a reason all of this happens. All of it is supposed to happen. All of it is divinely orchestrated. You know, you might get frustrated every time you go back into separation, wondering why isn't it happening yet? But this is a sure sign. If you're still frustrated about the outcome and the timeline, it means you've got more to heal. So ask yourself those questions. What do I have to heal? What am I still running from? And that's a fact. Like, you know, you might think you're ready. You might think I'm 100% ready. And then you both meet again, or you both see each other again, or you both contact each other again. And then you go back into another separation and you freak out and you're like, I thought I was ready. And then when you come down off the high, you realize, okay, hold on now. There's still some parts of me that I need to heal. And that, like, for me personally, I think a lot of us are going through the same energy collectively. So say about a month ago, we were going through that energy of not feeling good enough, feeling insecure, feeling unworthy, worried our twin was going to choose somebody else. We had to heal that. And then when we did heal that, we got more contact. But then we're in this energy of fear of being vulnerable, fear of being seen. And that's what they're feeling as well at this time. I really do think that we're on the verge of this union timeline, but we have to kind of clear anything from our past relationships. And I think that's what the big one is at the moment, is letting go of everything from our past relationships. That stuff is still lingering. And if that stuff still lingers, it still prevents you from moving forward. So it's like releasing your ex energy at the moment. You know, we're not in it, we're over the insecurity side of things. We're starting to trust and surrender the process and trust that all of this is supposed to happen for a reason. But there's still some residue from past energies. And for me personally, it was clarity. I got clarity on my fear of being seen. You know, and I was like, how am I afraid to be seen? We're afraid to be so open with anyone again. It's not just our twin, but anyone, because we're afraid to be hurt again. And that creates a block. If we're still in the energy of that fear of vulnerability, that fear of opening up, that fear of losing ourselves, that creates an energetic block between you and your twin. And you're going through that as well as they are going through it. So the more you heal, the more they heal. So it's all that mirrored energy again. But ask yourself, what parts of your past relationships do you need to heal? And for me, it was connected to my witch wound as well, my persecution wound. Do you know, every time I spoke up in the past, it was shunned or shamed, or it was held against me. You know, so if we find it very hard to completely let down our walls. And I think that's the most important thing when this is the funny thing about separation, is that when we go into separation, the walls go straight back up and we're like, oh my God, you know, like, you know, you kind of close in again after opening up to them again. You close up again because you're like, oh my God, I'm in pain. They're hurting me. They're not hurting you. You see, this is the thing. We can only be hurt by another person based on our level of wounding. You know what I mean? So it's actually nothing to do with their behavior and everything to do with what's inside you. And that's the importance of our triggers. We can be angry towards our twin for doing this or not doing this, but they're aiding in our healing journey. They're aiding in what we have to face. And we have to start being grateful towards them and also compassionate towards them. Like, you know, as the more awakened twin, we know what's going on. Now, it doesn't make it any easier because we still go through the dark nights of the soul. We still go through that depths of healing. We still go through that massive purging. But we're more aware of the awakening process. So we're more accepting of what's happening. So, like, you know, I went through a massive purge last week. Or this week. What day are we on? Thursday? Yeah, Monday. Like, Monday was really bad for me. And that stuff was going on for over a week prior to that. But I only really purged it on Monday. And I was like in the depths of my crying going, I realise now why we're in separation again, because I was literally kind of going, this needs to come out of me. And that's it. You need to get rid of that. It's like toxins in your body, that old residue from past lives, from past relationships, and from childhood. We have to get that shit out so that we can actually open up and break down our walls. So this is so important. So you'll be going through this high energy after seeing them or contacting them. And you'd be just, I suppose, excited that union is here. But then everything just comes crashing down again. And then you kind of do realise, when you're in the depths of a healing cycle, oh, I get it now. It's not just him that needs to heal or her that needs to heal. It's I need to heal as well. And accepting that, I think one of the best things you can do is accept and surrender. Like, you know, what I've started to learn, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, has really made me completely be in the moment. Not like we're so fixated on the pain of the past, the pain of what our twin did or didn't do, and the fear of the future not working out. But if this is ridiculous. That one of the biggest things that stops us from actually getting into union is the lack of facing our truth and our healing, and that lack of faith. If we're sitting there, I've said this before, expectation creates reality. So if we're sitting there, you know, bitter towards our twin, or angry towards them, or feeling like, are they doing the work, or will they ever do the work? That sends an energy. If you keep telling somebody that they're not good enough to do something, they're going to continue not to do that. And you're sending that energy of, I don't believe in you and I don't trust you. That's what you're saying. And that's effectively saying you don't believe in yourself either, because you are your twin. And you have to kind of get back to the remembrance. And I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Is that we have to remember that you and your twin flame souls made a promise, a divine promise that can't be broken, to do the work, to fight for each other, and to do anything in your power to come back together. That is the promise that you made. So if you're continuously frustrated or angry towards them, you're effectively lacking faith in them and their promise, which will send the energy of, I don't think you're good enough to do the work. And that's the energy that then they're going to exude. They're not going to do the work. They're going to feel, because, you know, if you keep telling somebody they're a failure, they're effectively going to continue being a failure. You know, it's that negative energy. And if you send the energy of surrender, trust, faith, you are your twin. So if you're doing the work, so are they. But you need to trust them. And I've gone into this complete surrender of just saying to myself, this shit is inevitable. Everything is inevitable. Like, you are their only one and they are your only one. And that's something you need to trust. Separation is an illusion. Your soul is always together. You know, you are one soul. It's always going to be together. They're always in your presence. They're always going to choose you. But some of the human things that we have to heal means that we're not choosing ourselves. They're not choosing themselves and you're not choosing yourself. But if you're not trusting them, they're not trusting themselves either. And you're not trusting yourself either. It's just, it's a funny energy, but that's the way it is. So understand that if they're ghosting, they're just processing. You know, you need time and space to heal your stuff, but they kind of need a little bit of extra time. And what I do notice with my twin as well is that I'll go through something and it will be a few days or a week later when he goes through the stuff that I've gone through, which I can feel energetically. You know, and that's, you know, you have to understand that, like, they're not behind. Like, I remember this, I mentioned this before. I was outside a few months ago now, and I saw these two planes. And like, normally you see planes, you know, the jet stream from the planes, but there was two, and they were literally parallel to each other going in the same direction. One was just a little bit further than the other. And I got the download that this is what the twin flame journey is like. You're both heading in the same direction, which is effectively home, but you might be a little few steps ahead. So if you're going through your purging and your healing, understand that your twin isn't going through it effectively at the exact same time, but they will go through it a day or two later or a week or two later, depending on what level I suppose we're at. Like, so trust in that you're both heading in the same direction. You're both heading towards each other, towards home, which is the outcome, divine union. But there's just that little bit of a delay. So, if you think, oh, I got my healing done now this round, you're kind of looking at the time going, oh, when are they going to come? They're coming. They are coming, and they are doing that work. It's just a little bit slower because you might have more time or more awareness to do your healing, whereas they're still in that ego mind a lot. So they're trying to bury what they're feeling. But the more you work on you, the more they will work on them. And that's it. If you make the hard decisions, they will make the hard decisions then. So if you need to let anything go in your life, whether it's, that energy from your ex or your past relationships, they will do the same thing. So it's to have patience and to trust them and to know that every bit of contact, even if it's a brief one message, that is going to activate or trigger something else. In both of you, to be honest. Everything is mirrored. So it is going to trigger and activate the next round of healing. But it does get easier. And you know this because every time that you do meet or you do contact, the energy is different. So, you mightn't think that a lot has changed. But what you feel in their presence will show you that something has been unblocked. And that's what I noticed last week when I met my twin, is that the energy was lighter. And for the first time, I'm not overly emotional because of the ghosting. I understand it now. I'm in surrender mode. Yes, I had stuff to heal, but it wasn't connected to my unworthiness wound. Well, it was, but it wasn't connected to him ghosting me. I've accepted that this is a time for processing, and I've accepted that I'm healing. So we have to get to that stage of surrender where if they're not in communication, it doesn't mean they don't love you. It just means they have some work to do. And so do you. So just understand that it's mirrored energy. Every contact activates another round of healing. And every contact and every healing brings you closer and closer to union. So thank you so much for listening today. And I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share. And please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. And I love nothing more than to help in your path. Also, I'm hosting a free webinar on Friday, the 12th of September at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. I will be speaking on inner child healing, which is a very important part of our journey. If you need any information, just comment below. Also, I have a new channel called Aligning with Angie. I will be sharing a guided meditation there every week. The information for that is in the description box.